Hello, everybody, and welcome to another very impromptu Toonkind 12 FPS. I'm Vamp, and today I shall be playing the Magic Man because let's face it, who else would I be playing right now? And I'm joined today by my lovely, and talented friend. Um, Fletch, why don't you introduce yourself?
Uh, yes. Hello. I'm Fletch, as you've heard, and I am throwing Uno reverse cards at Vamp right now because you're also lovely and talented. Um, and today I'm going to be playing a different star-based magic boy, uh, this is the wrong character sheet, who goes by the name of Ursa.
Yeah, yep. And this chapter of the story starts in Bottomless Heights. Mersel has gone down to Bottomless Heights again. He does visit Grunkle Jhonn semi regularly, but also find it hilarious at the idea that every time he visits, he just somehow misses people from people from the Bottomless Height campaign by a hair.
Absolutely. Like there have been
Just
times where there have been times where like Ursa leaves and then 5 seconds later Marcel comes in, or like
it's
Ursa
like
comes in like just as Marcel is leaving. So
it, yeah, and exactly, Jade. I know Alibi is here in Bottomless Heights, and I maintain that that's the reason why Marcel is constantly not not why Marcel's constantly like a ship passing through the night because the powers that be are like, oh shit, if Delta and Marcel are in the same place, something's gonna happen. But anyway, Marcel's here again. He's here to visit Grunkle, possibly, because, it's New Year's, and one of his little sisters, two of them actually, planning on going to Bottomless Heights camp, summer camp. So, he has reason to be visiting.
yeah.
And I feel like this time Ursa actually has the luck of being there when he does.
Yeah, I just realized something cuz since the Ursa and Alibi FPS was literally yesterday, Ursa is still covered in glitter from that whole shenaniganery. So that's just a fun little fact for those of us going into this FPS. Um,
Gosh.
yeah, Ursa is probably just he's probably watching um some Goose Sleuth or reading some book he picked up from the library right now. He's
Hmm.
mostly just deciding to take this time to chill.
And Ursa, you hear knocking.
Ursa is actually not going to immediately answer the door because Grunkle Jhonn has taught him a bit better than that. Uh,
Yeah, I would be like, if you immediately answered, I would be concerned.
yeah, no, he has been well trained, and he he probably pulls over a little stool near the door first to kind of like peer out through the window. Uh, and he does not recognize this person, but they don't look
No,
like a cop.
no, they don't. Well, they're very tall because I'm pretty sure that at the height the people is, you can't actually see the guy's face.
Yeah, that is very fair. Even with the stool, he can't see up that high.
Yeah, so he doesn't seem like a cop. He seems, but you don't recognize him just like from what you can see through the people. It seems like he's an anime tune. Giblian?
And he, let's see, he probably takes a moment to go through the pros and cons of this, but uh, he probably eventually decides, you know what, today has been kind of boring. Let's just see what happens. And he,
It's if this had been an undercover cop or something.
yeah, it's fine. He kind of just drags the stool out of the way of the door and like opens it just a bit to look to get a better look at this weird person.
And as the door opens, like again, Paul, you have to literally crane your neck to see his face. But like he does seem to like kind of brighten when the door opens. Goes, oh hey, Grunkle, and then he realizes it's not in fact John. He's just like, oh hello.
Yeah, while while Ursa has to crank his head up to look at Mersel, Mersel probably has to look way down to see Ursa. uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and Ursa kind of just does a little squint, like, cause he likes to think he knows a bit about what's going on in the shack. He does not, by the way. Uh, and so he does a little squint, like, why are you looking for Grunkle Jhonn?
Oh, I wanted to visit him.
Ursa is squinting at you. I'm so sorry he's like this. I'll I'll do an insight roll. 16.
16. He doesn't seem like he's hiding anything. He genuinely seems like he's just here to help, but also, granted, I don't know if that would be enough to clear his distress fully.
It's enough to get him to open the door more at least. Cause you know what? Usually if someone is after Grunkle Jhonn in the sort of either deal went bad way or I'm going to arrest you way, yeah, usually he doesn't get this far, so it's probably fine at this point.
Yeah, and I imagine that most people who are interested in that don't knock either.
Oh, they absolutely do not. Yeah, so he opens the door, and Marcel, you can see that uh, he is a pretty young and short tune. He looks about 12, and he's got a little pink hat with a diamond on it, and all that good stuff. And he's kind of got a not exactly sour look, but it's just a little bit distrusting because, again, he's still not used to the concept of people just wanting to hang out with Grunkle Jhonn.
In fairness, I think Marcel is an outlier and should not be counted.
Yeah, it's just like,
I hold this boy.
I
He
mean,
has questionable taste in friends.
he does, and we love him for it. Uh, Ursa's he's just trying to process this a bit.
Yeah, especially because, like, imagine now that Ursa has like actually taken a look at Marcel. Like, this guy doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would come to a shack in the middle of Bottomless Heights.
Yeah, yeah, so he looks Marcel up and down before just going like, "Are you sure you have the right shack?"
Yes, John's place. I'm pretty sure I have the right shack. I've been visiting for a while now, and I dropped off keychain right before Animus or his gift.
Let's see. Let's roll history to see if he remembers Grunkle Jhonn. Not Mersel delivering the keychain, but Grunkle Jhonn picking up a keychain. 13. It's
Is
probably
that
good.
enough? Jade, is that enough?
Is that enough to remember that? Oh yeah, Grunkle Jhonn did get a new keychain round Animus.
God. Just Jade says probably.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Eh,
So at that, he does look significantly less distrusting because okay, yeah, that checks out. But also, he's like, why? Yeah,
Does he say that out loud?
just a little bit. He's a bit confused. This is not a
Uh,
normal occurrence at the shack.
I gave him the keychain because it was Animus. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Well, I knew about you, but I would have got I tr- I would have gotten you a more personalized gift if I had met you in person. I did send along some Animus cookies with Grunkle Jhonn.
Yeah, Ursa. I'm just gonna say Ursa for sure remembers the cookies, and
Yeah, they're very good cookies.
they're very good cookies. And he's just like, I knew Grunkle Jhonn didn't bake those.
uh, it's all here's that, and it's just like, oh, absolutely not. No offense, but I've never seen him cook ever.
Ursa kind of just he does a little shudder, like, you want to keep it that way. And he kind of moves to the side so that way Mersel can come in if he wants to.
Yeah, and Mersel will come in. He has to duck to go through the door frame, but he comes in.
And the door is shut behind him, and Ursa kind of trots up next to him, like, well, Grunkle John's out for today. Uh, he will not elaborate on what out means.
And Zell just sighs and is just like, ah, alright, that makes sense. This was a bit short notice. I was just nearby. I thought I'd drop in.
And
And he kind of takes a proper look at Ursa now that they're both in the same like building, and he's just, um, do you want help getting the glitter off? I have prestidigitation.
Ursa, he lets out a little sigh, like, I've tried. You know how glitter is.
Yes, I do know, but I thought that I might offer anyway. At the very least, I can't make it get worse.
uh, Jade says it's anti-prestidigitation glitter, apparently. Uh,
God. I mean, Saul's still gonna try it, just to make sure.
yeah, Ursa does give a little shrug, like, go ahead if you want to. um, but yeah, just if you touch him, you will also be infected with the glitter, by the way.
Yeah, I think he'll first just kind of wave his hand to cast the cantrip, and when that doesn't work, he just clicks his tongue like, why does why does the shack have anti-prestidigitation glitter lying around?
uh, Ursa, he kind of gets a little mischievous smile on his face because, yeah, the first time that they got it sure was a ride. It was just like, you'd be surprised how often it can be used.
Ah, glitter bombing unruly customers, I assume?
Yeah, and he kind of nods at that because, it's fun to cause a little chaos sometimes.
Eh,
And also,
And
it's good for sabotage.
gosh, Ursa carefully not saying that bit.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't help more with the glitter. I'd go to wipe you off, but I'd probably get a glitter on myself. And if I infect any of my friends with it, they might actually disarm me.
Yeah, Ursa, he kind of nods at that. He understands, like, yeah, same thing happened to the last person. And, uh, Ursa probably at this point has actually attacked Grunkle Jhonn to get glitter on, good old Grunkle too.
God. And Marcel's just like grinning at this, kind of mischievously, and just like, if you look like this, what does the other guy look like?
uh, Ursa does, uh, he does do a little bit of a laugh because, sure, he during that FPS he was on the receiving end of most of that stuff, but he did still get in a little bit on our good fox friend.
Yeah, good
Uh,
fox friend that Marcel has not is still unaware of the fact that Delta is in Bottomless Heights.
yeah, there's lots of foxes in Einquell.
Yeah, like it couldn't be the same fox, right? I mean, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, so Ursa kind of just recounts a little bit of the pranks he tried to pull on one alibi, and though
Does he mention Nullify by name? Is the
uh,
question.
for comedy's sake, he somehow goes the whole time without mentioning any identifying traits about alibi.
Amazing. It's just like, oh yeah, Grunkle has like this fox friend who's been staying with us.
Yeah, the most he talks about said fox is just like, the fox is kind of annoying and kind of a jerk, and Ursa really, really wants to up that fox one day, but he somehow manages to avoid saying a single thing about, like, luck or alibi or even the hood.
Yeah, yeah. And Sal's just nodding, like, yeah, I know a few foxes. One of them is kind of a jerk sometimes too, but I still like him.
Ursa nods at that because he does have the barest amount of begrudging respect for the fox that he knows. He does not know it's the same fox.
God.
Uh, yeah, probably at some point there probably is like, oh yeah, your fox kind of sounds like my fox, and then they don't elaborate.
Yeah. God, this too, man. Puts my hand in my hands and shakes it. But actually, they're talking because I presume they're probably sitting at this point and chatting about foxes and stuff like that. Do you want do you want do you want Ursa to roll a perception and then an arcana if he succeeds in the perception?
Sure. Perception is a flat d20 because he is 12. That's a 4.
Oh my god, baby. I am looking away. I'm giving you advantage. Oh
Dice Mercer
baby.
says no.
You got like like in the middle of the conversation, glitter gets into Ursa's eyes.
Yeah, like he does some gesture and then glitter gets in his eyes and then he spends like the next 5 minutes like uh panicking about going blind because, oh no, there's glitter in his eyes.
God, that's such a 12-year-old thing to do. I remember doing exactly that. And then
Yeah.
Sal's just like, no, you're not going blind. It's okay. It's okay. Here, and you're kind of like the rustling. I'm gonna roll hammer space. Yeah, you hear rustling, and then you hear like Sal takes out a handkerchief and hands it to you.
And he does take the handkerchief and kind of like dab at his eyes, and he does calm down a little bit after he can. And once he cracks his eyes open, he's like, yes, I can still see, and hands the handkerchief back with a little thank you.
I think Sal like actually goes, keep it. I have spares in my hammer space, and well, since that one's already glitter soaked, you might as well use it if more glitter gets into your eyes.
He kind of nods at that and pockets it like, thank you.
You're welcome. And I will let you do the perception again.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh my
god.
god, Ursa! I look away. I give you advantage. Oh my
One of
god.
these times it has to be above a 10. No!
For everyone listening, Ursa rolled 4, a 7, a 2, and a 4. You know what? I'm just gonna say you succeeded. I'm just gonna look away from the Dice Rolls channel right now. Um, because like in fairness, it is very prominent part of his design. Like as the two of you are chatting, like it's not hard to miss like the literal big star pinned to his chest.
Yeah. So let's do the Arcana roll, which actually does have a positive modifier to it.
Don't jinx it. Oh, 24.
24.
All right. Hey, Ursa, you've read a lot of magic books. You like magic.
Yeah, he's very much a magic nerd.
Yee. And you've probably read about the Electrinity. You know, three goddesses.
Hmm.
You probably also read about the Wishing Star, one of the Electrinity goddesses.
Yeah, considering his whole theming it, he probably did sink a good bit of time into reading about that.
Yeah, and with a 24, like as you look at the star on Marcel's chest, you recognize this as the sigil of the wishing star, which is in itself not a weird thing, because like the wishing star is like worshipped by quite a few people. So like it's not like people don't wear her sigils on them. Like, but with a 24, you also like have a feeling like that's not all is the sigil he's wearing specifically isn't like a necklace or like an earring or like some kind of accessory like you'd expect from someone who worships the wishing star, but like it's specifically a sigil. It's pinned to his coat front and center. And you also distinctly remember reading there that the wishing star only takes one more look at a time.
Yeah, I think as he puts the pieces together, he probably stops rambling about whatever thing he was rambling right now, and he's he's gonna stare up at you with his big ol' eyes for a moment, cause like, oh wait, if he's right, this is gonna be really cool. um,
Marcel kind of like doesn't notice at first, but then like he kind of tapers off as well when he notices Ursa is staring, and he goes, something wrong?"
and he kind of points at the wishing star symbol, like, are you the warlock?
Oh, yes. Wishing stars Warlock at your surface, and he gives like a little nod.
Ursa, he very much lights up at that because, oh, that is extremely cool. Uh, he can't believe that Grunkle Jhonn actually has a cool friend.
Grunkle Jhonn Ursa later on. Hey, Grunkle Jhonn, how did you meet the Wishing Star Warlock? Guarded Grunkle Jhonn.
Yeah, just because if he had to think up a friend for Grunkle Jhonn, it would absolutely be some. It would basically just be another weird old guy who's into illegal activities, which
Yeah.
and while Mersel does illegal activities, considering who doesn't in Einquell, uh, Mercel's very much not a weird old guy. So,
Nope. And he's like kind of like smiling at Ursa, like, I'm surprised you figured it out that quickly, though.
and he kind of puffs out his chest because yes, he is very smart. Thank you for noticing. And uh, starts he starts talking uh, about how he read a lot about the luck trio and the wishing star, and how the wishing star only has one warlock, and it's really cool that he's actually talking to said warlock.
Yeah. It's like that kind of thing where she's had warlocks over the ages, but she only has like one at a time. So like, so Ursa's probably just like, I got to meet the warlock this time.
Yeah, which is a really cool thing because there is only one of them.
Yeah. Me looking at Alibi. You've technically met the rarer one, but
Yeah,
semantics.
I think depending on how things go with Alibi, there might be a chance where if he does learn it, he might just refuse to be impressed out of spite, which is really
Ursa,
hilarious.
Ursa putting his nose in the air. I've met the actual Wishing Star Warlock. You were just born with it. We're not the same.
Maybe he was born with it. Maybe it's the wishing star.
God. God,
Uh,
does Ursa just start asking like questions? Because he seems like the kind of guy who, when he's learned something, he just like asks so many questions.
oh yeah, he is absolutely going ham with the questions right now. Like, let's see. Yeah, he's pulled out his little notebook and pencil and is he looks very ready to take notes. And it's kind of easy to tell that he really likes magic, and he really likes astronomy and things relating to stars. And this is both of them together, so it's kind of like very exciting for him.
He and so likes both those things. So like as you're asking questions, he fields all the ones he can. Stuff like, oh yeah, the wishing star, da 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 da. There's an actual star in Anquil. Oh, that is a physical form, etc., etc. And it's just like two magic nerds gushing and like rambling and geeking out.
Yeah, it's I hold them both very soft. He's just a very excited kid. uh, and so he kind of this probably goes on for a good bit, considering that they are both huge nerds. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
And
and
God, I'm wondering if Ursa ever is going to ask Marcel how the fuck he met Uncle John.
I think at some point it shifts from like general talk about the wishing star to like, oh yeah, you do a lot of adventures, to what are your adventures, to speaking of adventures, how did you meet some boring guy like Grunkle Jhonn?
Yeah, that one has Marcel kind of start sweating a little. Like he's like, I'm not sure if your Grunkle would want me to tell you.
And Ursa kind of just huffs a bit because, excuse you, he is a very mature big boy who can handle information. Uh, and he's like, I'm sure it can't be any worse than that time with the pugs.
Oh, the is that related to the bug dealer he mentioned in passing?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, Eduardo? Yeah, we know him.
I well, I met your uncle during the Ghibli Lantern Festival. If you've heard of that,
Uh,
but I suppose I met him even earlier than that. 2 years ago in Chihiro Festival.
and
He was manning a water tank at the time, and it was one of those rigged tanks where even if you hit the bullseye, he wouldn't fall into the water.
yeah, Ursa kind of just nods because, yeah, yeah, that sounds like Grunkle Jhonn. He's
So my
probably
little,
helped with rigging those before.
so my little brother and my elder brother, they both decided to, you know, if he wanted to play like that, they were going to play like that too. So my elder brother, he's a nobody, although I don't really like the word. He's a nobody, so he tends to easily blend in with the crowd. Not many people tend to notice him when he doesn't want to be noticed, and he kind of just went to the crank mechanism and you know tinkered with it because he's an artificer, so that it was no longer rigged. And then my younger brother threw a ball with so much force it made a hole in the target and dunked John.
Ursa, he starts cackling at that a little bit. Uh, there's he might have heard about it if your Uncle John was, salty enough to start ranting about it a bit. Um,
I mean, in fairness, I think Grunkle Jhonn also lost money because he specifically promised the money reward.
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
Ursa definitely remembers that, and he does kind of laugh at the image because, oh yeah, that sounds like, cause sure he helps Grunkle John with cons more than not, but also it is very funny to see it go downhill.
Yeah. And so, like, Sol smiles, like, when he sees Ursa laughing, and he's just like, that was the first ever time I met him, but I met him again in Ghibli in the Lantern Festival, as I told you. And he had this Tent of Wonders, and unfortunately for him, I remembered him from Chihiro Festival here back.
Ursa is kind of nodding along because he can see where this is going.
So, the little band of tourists I was with at the time all wanted to go in the Tent of Wonders, and they were all pretty gullible. So I wanted to stick with them just to make sure that they weren't going to get scammed.
Yeah, Ursa, he nods at that in understanding, though you get the sense that he is, even though he understands where you're coming from, he's more the type to be messing with gullible people.
No, like cell can contain multitudes, okay? You
Yeah,
can want an innocent, like you can want innocent people not to get scammed, but also like absolutely bully people that he already knows.
yeah, which is
He,
very valid of him.
and like Cell like this Cell like gives like a brief description of them like going through the Tent of Wonders and the absolutely terrifying taxidermy lion.
Ursa kind of nods like, I never did like that thing.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I had an excuse to throw it in the water or something like, but that gets to later on. We were at the Star Attraction scale, and I recognized that it was actually magic. Nothing else in the tent was, but the scale was magic.
Yeah, Ursa's nodding at that. He probably knows about that one.
Grunkle Jhonn was on phone, so I knocked on his door and told him we wanted to talk to him. And when he came out, we asked him where he got the skill from. He told us. And then my memory gets really spotty around this point, but then a woman outside was screaming for her son and saying her son was lost. So we basically got distracted.
That would
And
distract most people.
before we went, before we left the tent, I kind of told told John that he should be careful with the scale because, as well, if you studied magic things before, you know that magical things have the opportunity to lash out, especially when they aren't being taken care of properly or with proper safeguards, especially a scale from magical creature that I couldn't identify. And well, at this point, your Grunkle Jhonn was an annoying con man, but I didn't particularly want to see him hurt.
And yeah, I mean, you if you want to, you can roll insight.
Yeah, sure. Dirty 20, holy shit.
Oh boy. Yeah, okay. Yeah. At that, you can see that, yeah, Ursa does, for the most part, agree. He really does, um, if anything, it comes from, like, a place of understanding. Like, perhaps Grunkle Jhonn has done many things to annoy him before, but sometimes family is complicated, and he does still, at the end of the day, care for Grunkle John's well-being. so,
Uh,
so yeah, he is. You can tell that he is pretty glad that you stepped in at that point because, as annoying of a con man as Grunkle Jhonn can be, he is also Ursa's family.
yeah, I look at Mersel and I just like, yeah, of course he would warn John. Like John hadn't done anything like malicious at this point. Yeah, he's scammed him, but like Sal's bar is very low.
Yeah, that
It's
is very fair.
extremely low. Yeah. It, Uncle John didn't kill him, so Saul was just like, yeah, I don't want to see him hurt. So, but Sal continues after a pause and it's just like, so we went outside to talk with the woman, and she said that her son had disappeared and she didn't know where to find him. We found out that the son had gone down to the docks, and more than that, had gone to an island in the middle of the sea that was some ways off from this particular island. And well, it was the Lantern Festival, so none of the sailors or people who owned the boats down at the dock were around. They were all too busy celebrating. And B, it was pretty choppy and stormy as well. It wasn't it wasn't a peaceful sea by any metric.
Yeah, that yeah, Ursa's he's kind of just listening along to this and is every so often does like take notes. Uh, like
and
Mostly
like
just on
ask.
there. Some points are serious. Some are things like, Grunkle Jhonn is stupid.
And Mersel just kind of like props his cheek up in one hand and goes, "So I decided, hey, and Grunkle John mentioned that he had a boat. He mentioned that that was how he got to the place where the scale was in the first place. So I went back in the tent. Your Grunkle was already beginning to pack, and I said, hey, there's a kid that's lost. He's like 12. Could you help us find him?"
And he hesitates for just a little bit, like, and what did Grunkle Jhonn say?
He was very hesitant, but I talked him around. I said, I told him that this kid was missing and his mom didn't know where he went, and John was the only person around who had a boat, who knew how to drive the boat.
Ursa's he does relax a bit when Mersel says that Grunkle Jhonn got talked around because okay, good. Because like
And
I know that
yeah,
Grunkle John's not the best, but like he's the harmless, not the best.
yeah. I look at the rest of the story and I'm just like, God, Marcel's gonna have to decide what to say and what not to.
Yeah, just
But
like fun
but
stories about Grunkle Jhonn.
fun. Um, but we soon we went on his little boat and went to the island in question, and we found the kid. The kid had actually been feeding a sea monster this whole time, which was why he was missing, quote unquote missing, because he actually fell asleep after he gave the sea monster some fish.
And Ursa's like, because he kind of knows the feeling, and you can kind of understand that, considering that one day he brought home a multi-bear, and he probably has spent enough time out in the woods that he has accidentally fallen asleep in it before.
Yeah, and Saul's just like, so at that point we were all pretty relieved and we thought, hey, we could like bring the kid home and probably tell the town that the beast that they were so scared of wasn't actually scary. Bessie, I can't quite recall, only really startles when she's scared. But at that Bitsy, right, Bitsy. But at that point, taps his cheek. Um, some a crew of I believe a crew of, well, I suppose I could call them pirates. Crew of pirates arrived.
Yeah. And it's just like real pirates?
Yes, they um they arrived, and in the actual like event, they drove a harpoon through Bitsy's side, but he's not gonna describe that to a 12-year-old. So
Yeah, probably for the best.
yeah, so Marcel's just like they arrived and they took Bitsy while we were all on the shore and unable to do anything because like I said, we do the boat that we had was out on out still on the shore of the island, and they had just sailed in to Bitsy and sailed out. They had also taken the child because the child in question had well clung to Bitsy.
Okay,
Or did
so
that come later? Hmm. Like Cells like kind of like trying to remember because again, very adrenaline hit of the like heat of the moment kind of deal. So he's like trying to like make sure that he's not messing up the order of anything. Like he's pretty sure like the kid was also taken with Bitsy.
Yeah, this is why Ursa keeps notes, because sometimes, yeah, things get a bit exciting, and it's hard to
God,
remember.
if Mersel took notes for every adventure he would be in, he would probably wreck his wrist.
Either wreck his wrists or become a famous author, or both.
Yeah. He just like yeah, I'm pretty sure kid was with him. So at that point we were all pretty you know, stressed. And then Grunkle, your Grunkle. Like Suck keeps almost calling Grunkle Jhonn like Grunkle Jhonn because everyone keeps calling him that.
Yeah. Let's.
And it's just your Grunkle. He told us all to well, I said told, but he basically scruffed us and said get in a boat.
And Ursa's just like. He does kind of chuckle and laugh at that a bit, because Grunkle Jhonn doing something heroic, that sounds like something to see.
Ursa thinking to himself sounds fake, but okay.
Yeah. Like,
And Marcel's just like, so we went on the boat and we followed the ship and we got to the ship where your uncle started talking to the pirates.
and
He hmm?
he's just. And did he. Let me guess. He tried to con them or sell them something.
Yes and no. He said the deal was off.
And Ursa kind of frowns at that, but like, you can hear him mutter like, "I can't believe Grunkle Jhonn made a deal with pirates and didn't tell me."
And Sel grins and goes, so it turns out that your uncle had hired those pirates. Although I should make it clear that from the conversation that I heard, he'd hired them to, get another scale, not to, kidnap the entire beast and then decide to sell it to someone else.
Yeah,
Admittedly, it was still kind of foolish of your uncle considering these are pirates, and I don't know why he expected them to not do piratey things, but you
like
know,
he nods like, "Yeah, pirates aren't generally known for sticking to a deal, but
yeah,
that's Grunkle for you."
yeah. So your uncle told them that the deal was off to let the kid go and to let the beast go. Grunkle didn't say let the beast go, but Sel's including it because like he ended up helping them releasing the beast anyway.
And
And the pirates said no, so we it came down to a fight.
and Ursa, he looks a little bit excited at the prospect of the fight, because like, pirates versus like a whole bunch of tourists, like pirates in any kind of fight context is kind of exactly up a 12-year-old's alley.
Yeah. And like Saul like describes like the fight real quick, like how they went on the ship. It was the middle of the night. Saul was able to see in the dark, but the others only had the lantern light to go by. They all went on the ship and they all picked a pirate and they started fighting. Amy, one of the people that he was with, threw the pirate captain off board. Mersel moonbeamed two pirates, and one of them was giant and nearly like one shot them, um, etc. etc. Just like describing this in like the most like dramatic storyteller way possible.
Yeah, and Ursa is kind of hanging on to your every word. Like, he's been taking notes kind of as just like something for him to do during the story, but like at this point he's kind of forgotten about that to kind of just get wrapped up in the whole pirate fight.
And and he also like talks about the fact that yeah, Grunkle Jhonn Grunkle Jhonn is in fact was in fact involved in the fight. He also helped.
Yeah, Ursa does seem a little bit doubtful at the idea of Grunkle Jhonn being kick-ass.
And Saul's just like, hey, don't. I mean, he did a lot of Eldritch Blasts.
It's like, yeah, but have you seen him in the morning?
Well, yes, but we were in kind of a high tension situation that would make as you put it, a kick ass out of basically everyone who wants to get out of it.
He he looks like he's giving you this one, but isn't completely buying the fact of Grunkle being kick-ass just yet.
Yeah, and so like finishes up the fight. The pirates surrender. They get arrested, and then Saul went to Grunkle John along and went, "Hey, you probably should leave before the cops come here."
And Ursa, he's like, yeah, that always is good advice to give him.
Yeah, your Grunkle was seemed surprised that we were letting him go. But I mean, he helped us. He helped us with he helped us save the kid and save Bitsy. He didn't try to kill us.
And Ursa nods like, yeah, Grunkle Jhonn has his quirks, but he's harmless.
Mm-hmm. Marcel nods. Like, and yeah, Marcel agrees with you. Not exactly that Grunkle is harmless, because that no one's like completely harmless. But in the yeah, I feel like he definitely does have like he definitely does have like a good heart. Really, really, really deep down.
Yeah, like you really have to dig for it, and you probably have to bring a shovel, but it's there.
Yeah. It's like the kind of trust where you trust someone not to like stab you in the back.
Yeah.
Like not I mean literally, not metaphorically. I mean like literally ha 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 take out the knife and stab you in the back.
Yeah, that about yeah, that
Yeah.
about sums it up.
Yeah. And Sal was like, and after before he left, he gave me a business card for Bottomless Heights. So the next time I was in the area, I swung by, and your Grunkle seemed extremely surprised that I actually came to visit.
And he's Ursa kind of shrugs like, honestly, I'm surprised that you're still coming back.
Well, I like this town. It's pretty quirky, and I like your uncle. He shrugs. It's good company.
Ursa is pressing X to doubt.
Ursa softly, I'm related to this man, and yet,
Yeah, like, listen, he's he's Grunkle Jhonn to Ursa. Like, it's like how you can't really comprehend your parents being cool until like much, much later on in life.
yeah, and it's just like Rizal doesn't necessarily think John is cool. He just he likes like spending time with John. It's nice.
Yeah, Ursa kind of just shrugs like, yeah, usually the only people we get are, uh, aside from tourists, are, other criminals and the police.
Yeah, I can see that. He kind of like adjusts like his arsenal and goes, uh, although this does remind me, is the town alright?
Ursa tilts his head to the side.
It's just that when I first visited this town, Grunkle said that some kind of tragedy had happened, and they could really use some cheering up. So I offered to cook for them.
Roll insight.
I Please be bad. Please be bad. I'm
Oh
using a
no.
roll it and praying it's bad.
11.
11.
Yeah, it's 11. Ursa. Let me roll a. Let me roll a
Please,
contesting
please,
perception.
Fletch. Please, Fletch.
It's okay. Charisma is one of his highest stats.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's higher. That's good enough.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Ursa, you do not see him the way he kind of looks to the side and has to quickly mentally put those feelings away. We don't have time to unpack all that right now. And it's just like, oh yeah, yeah. The the townsfolk really appreciated it. They needed that.
Ursa mentally in the back of his head. I'm going to kill my grunkle. I'm going to commit patricide.
Grunkle side.
Grunkle side. And and Sal just smiles like, I'm glad there was a long line. And he taps his cheek. I was pretty exhausted after that, though, like really tired. And I think your grunkle might have felt a little bad about the fact that I kind of took on my day off. Again, the real reason Grunkle felt bad was because this was entirely a con, but Marcel doesn't know that.
Yeah. I'm so glad that but yeah, Ursa, he's kind of just like, uh, yeah, that I do remember something like that. I do remember getting the leftovers.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed them. He perks up.
Ursa nods, happy that the subject change is going has worked. Uh, like, oh yeah, you're a much better cook than Grunkle. And
Thank you. Um, he said that too when well, after I cooked for the whole town and I was tired, he felt bad, I think. So he offered to drive me home.
and it's just like, yeah, that was nice of him.
Hmm. He he told me, well, again, he told me to, and I quote, get in the car. If he had actually been a serial kidnapper or something, I'd probably that was probably not the thing that I should have done. But
Probably not,
he
no.
waves, and I'm sorry, Ursula. Cells just like you're learning alarmingly quick that Cell's bar is extremely low.
Yeah, he's kind you can see him writing down another note for the audience. The note is very much like, this guy's standards are really low.
Yeah, and that's like God. Out of character. I know why his standards are so low. I know why it's just a simple fucking act of kindness. Still had Mersel telling John's shit like, "Oh, you don't have to," despite the fact that he just cooked for an entire town.
Yeah, he literally cooked for an entire town, and also cooking for an entire town was a scam, so.
Yeah, Grunkle better had felt bad, but and like Sal's just like, I can't tell you anything else that happened on the ride though. I was pretty tired and Grunkle told me to go to sleep and that he'd wake me up when we got closer to our destination.
Ursa gets a little nod, like, yeah, well, um, I'm glad that he got you there, okay. I can. Grunkle Jhonn is thankfully not a serial kidnapper. Uh, Ursa makes a mental note to make sure that Grunkle Jhonn is not a serial kidnapper. Uh, yeah, Grunkle Jhonn has no secrets whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. I think Saul just kind of like puts like his cheek in his hand and it's just like, he talks about you a few times.
And Ursa kind of looks a little genuinely surprised at that, like, he does?
Yeah, he talked about you. I saw a few of your photos and the gestures on the wall the last time I came and I asked about you. Said you were a bright kid.
Ursa, uh, he actually blushes a little bit, because, yeah, it's, it's a bit emotions are hard when you're 12.
Yeah. And Saul just smiles at like Ursa and like just goes, I think he's very proud of you.
Please, he doesn't know how to handle his grunkle being proud of him.
Grunkle Jhonn somewhere in the distance. Why do I suddenly have a feeling that someone's talking about me?
It cuts to Grunkle Jhonn doing whatever illicit thing he's doing right now, and he just like sneezes.
He's researching how to divorce a Yeti. Like magic.
Oh yeah, 'cause they got magic. uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that marriage is only gonna end if one of them dies.
yeah, yeah. So
And I think Sal's just like, oh, speaking of food, what would you say is your favorite sweet or dessert?
uh, Ursa takes a moment to think. And I actually, what is your favorite dessert, Ursa? I look at you. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna say that he probably likes pumpkin pie, 'cause he who it's the Halloween dessert.
Yeah. And as soon as he says that, it's like, oh, that's perfect. I have one right here. And he flips his hat over, reaches into his hammer space, and takes out a whole ass pumpkin pie.
Ursa is making little grabby hands at the pumpkin pie.
Ursula does give him the pumpkin pie. It's warm. And he's just trying not to eat it all at once.
You can tell the moment that you say that Ursa was planning on eating it all at once.
Yeah, he knows enough children. He pins Ursa with a look.
Ursa uh, puts it into his hammer space with a sigh, like, fine.
Good. And it really is nice talking to you, Ursa. I can tell my uncle's proud. You're really a smart and bright kid. And he just smiles at you.
Oh no. Ursa does. He kind of flashes at that because he he just got complimented by the by the warlock of the wishing stars, so you know that's a pretty big deal to him. He's gonna take a moment to try and recover from that. Before he's just like, well, uh, Thank you too. It was uh he's he's suddenly become a flustered 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Uh,
I hope Marcel, he has done this to Grunkle as well.
yeah, it runs in the family.
It runs in the family. And speaking of Grunkle, hey, Jay, what's Grunkle up to?
Okay, there we go. Hi, can you hear me? Hi,
Yes, we
how's
can.
it going?
Hello,
I had to
James.
turn on. I had to turn on like 5 different mute buttons because for whatever reason my microphone got fucked. Anyways,
I bet
um,
you.
this is a very interesting question. What is Grunkle Jhonn doing at this very moment?
And
Um,
of course, a Yeti.
yeah, there is the idea of like he is in the he actually, you know what? You hear the sound of a truck right outside. Um,
Mm.
Oh.
Oh.
which yeah, it's a very familiar truck. Um, and you hear a voice which only you, Ursa, know very well, which says, "Hey, John. Hey, excuse me, boss. Um, what are need to fix again? I told you so. I'm having problems with the electrical box again. Go fix it in the back. Got it, boss." And immediately, the most perfect man goes into the backyard, and you hear the door crack open. And says, uh, and he probably doesn't notice it. The both of you are probably at the in the living room, right? So he's coming in for the gift shop. So it takes a bit before he actually makes it towards the both of you, and then he doesn't immediately notice because he's super tired. He was just getting out of. He was in the court of law. Not a good place for John.
Are you
Um,
telling me that Grunkle Jhonn had jury duty?
no, he wasn't a jury duty.
Okay.
He was in the court of law because that's where you have to go to. You have to get divorced.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was in front of a judge.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if a court of law can undo magic marriage.
Yeah, understandable. That's why they went. This was the last. This was the last thing he wanted to try.
Oh.
He just passes by the both of you, just says, "Hey, Ursa. Hey, Mersel," and goes over to the fridge, takes out a cola, drinks from it, and then spit take.
uh, yeah. Ursa kind of laughs a bit at that. Also, how glittery is Grunkle Jhonn from the glitter attacks Ursa has no
uh,
doubt made upon him?
from the glitter attacks. He's definitely still glittery, which probably didn't help with the divorce attorney. Now that
Probably
I think
not.
about it, no,
I mean, this is Toonkind, so it might not have actually mattered that much.
Yeah,
understandable.
this is Toonkind. I'm sure there's like 50 literal bunny-eared lawyers running about.
Um, but Grunkle John walks up to you, Marcel, and he says, "Kid, I told you gotta give me a warning before you come in next time."
I'm sorry. I really was just nearby, and I thought, well, I wanted to come see you.
Ursa kind of pops his head out from behind the headrest, like, Grunkle Jhonn, you didn't tell me you knew cool people.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you think I'm cool.
And
I, I, uh, I don't know when
No,
people are cool. Like, are you kidding me? Have you seen me?
I love the idea. Okay, I love the idea here that Grunkle John literally took one look at Marcel and was like, "This is a baby. This isn't a cool kid."
Yeah.
yeah.
um. Uh. Oh God. I'm having blanks.
No, you're valid. It's probably in character. Grunkle John's just like cool plus Cell doesn't compute.
Why though? What? What? How is? I like. He points like he motions towards Mersel.
Oh my gosh. Uh, you are about to start a rant, dear Grunkle Jhonn.
Oh no, Grunkle Jhonn can feel it. He can see it coming. He's immediately like, "Wait, nope, one moment," and he goes over to the fridge. He grabs another like 3 sodas. He goes upstairs. He comes back down. He's in his like the usual outfit that he wears when he's inside the house, and it doesn't have to be look fancy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry, Marcel. You're now seeing Grunkle Jhonn in a tank top and boxers.
I mean, honestly, I look at Mersel. I look at the sort of stuff he's had to see, and yeah, he's not gonna really be that like nonplussed. Not really
Fantastic.
gonna be that pleased.
He gets on his recliner. He turns on the TV at a very low volume. Opens up a soda. Go.
Ursa's kind of just been like paused mid inhale this whole time.
Vibrating.
Yeah. And the moment uh, Grunkle Jhonn gives him the go ahead, there's just a what? You seriously don't know who Mersel is? And cue a very long rant about the Lucky Trinity and the Wishing Star, and how Mersel is the one and only warlock of the Wishing Star of their time. And
All in the background sweating because yeah, he didn't tell Grunkle John because not because he didn't trust Grunkle John or anything, but mostly because like it's not really something that he wants to like flaunt at other people. Like, yeah, he's a wishing star warlock. Thumbs up.
Ursa just says
You
that Mersel is very cool and knows a lot about magic, and Grunkle Jhonn should know this.
Lovely.
um it takes a second for Uncle John to respond because it takes me a second for him to respond, and he just says, "So what I'm hearing is," and he looks directly at Marcel. "You can cast magic. Big whoop. So can I." And he takes
God,
a sip of his soda.
Marcel's like completely fine with this. It's just like, yeah, I'm I'm a warlock, Sean, and but I don't think that's gonna fly with Ursa.
Yeah, Ursa just groans, and uh, there's a moment where he flops his face into the cushions of the couch, uh, and somebody stop him before he goes to phase 2.
I think Sal just like ruffles like Ursa's hair actually. It's just like anyway, I was telling Ursa about Lantern Festival and he specifically waited.
Another spit take.
Yeah,
Another spit take.
I gotta say, John, Ursa did that on fucking purpose. He waited
Yeah.
until you drank.
Oh my
You son of a
gosh.
bitch.
Also, Marcel, uh, since you ruffled Ursa's hair, you want to roll perception?
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
That's like one of my favorite
Oh my
guns.
One.
gosh.
Good.
That's a 21. Uh, since he's wearing a hat, like the most approachable part of his hair is like the fringe and front. Uh, and as you ruffle that, like, when you pull his hair back, you can see a birthmark on his forehead that is shaped pretty much exactly like the Ursa Minor constellation.
Oh, I think if Sal saw it, he's just like gonna comment like idly as he's watching like Grunkle Jhonn like sweater and choke. He's just gonna be like, "Oh, that's a really neat birthmark you have." Some minor, right?
And Ursa, he was kind of enjoying the head pats until that's mentioned, and he kind of just pushes his hat down a bit more, like he he seems a little bit flustered over the fact that it was seen. He's like,
Yeah, I think Cell notices that he's flustered and like gives him like kind of the time to recover. But he also does say it. I mean it really is a nice looking constellation. And well, brightest star in the constellation. Polaris is also one of the brightest stars in the night sky.
he's still a bit flustered, but he's kind of just nodding as he uh like pushes his hair back. Like, uh, yeah, yeah, 'cause- and then does an
Uh,
awkward little cough and is like, anyways, the Lantern Festival, Grunkle Jhonn.
uh, uh, yeah. About that, and uh, this is so I can step out of the picture and leave you to it again. It is at that point that the mystery Ramshack's power goes out
Oh my
as
gosh.
Doctor as Sois um, just yells, um, uh, boss man, boss man. I think I had something wrong, and I think Sois needs a bit of help in the back, and just starts like walking away.
You're
And with that,
lucky
I mute
that
again.
Ursa doesn't have dark vision.
Marcel has.
uh, there's just a really exasperated, like, Grunkle Jhonn!
God. I mean, like, because we've been cooking for a bit, I'd say we probably should end the FPS here, but I offer you the cute thought of Marcel just, like, casting light on his wand, and, like, this, like, starlight, like, kind of wrapping both him and Ursa. It's just like, well, until the lights go back on. Want to hear more stories?
And Ursa, he is 12, so he is pretty easily distracted, yeah. And, like, he does take a moment to kind of marvel at the spell, because, yes, sta- more star and constellation based spell flavors. And then he nods with a big ol' smile on his face, because that's super cute.
That's what?
Because that
You
is
cut.
super cute.
And I think we can end the FPS here. Look, Runkle. Ursa and Mersel are getting along so well. Aren't you happy? But yeah, I think we can end there on like these two like star constellation boys like just rambling as Marcel tells like Ursa more stories of his adventures. He's specifically picking the ones that were more low stakes and had less trauma associated with it.
which is uh, which is good considering that Ursa is still a child.
Yeah, like he's not gonna tell Ursa about that time he became a ghost. Like
Yeah,
or he got his memory erased, or he got kidnapped by a god.
yeah, it's fine. There's plenty of
Yeah,
other like
yeah.
fun low
He
stake
knows he knows
adventures.
enough. He knows enough not to tell all this to like a kid. However, he probably has like kind of said this in passing in front of John a few times. You know, concerning. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good.
And thank you everyone for listening. Hope you had fun listening to these two dorks.
Yep. I hope you all had fun. I hope that you had fun, Vamp. Thank you for playing with me. It has been very good and very soft. Uh, and I know that I had fun.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright. And we will see you all later. Bye bye.
Bye.